Today, I'm joined by Arianne Sackville, the founder and owner of Bell & Bone Dog Treats and a well-known advocate for better dental care for our dogs. Arianne independently launched in 2018 at the age of 30 years old, and she has grown Bell & Bone to be one of the most recognised and respected pet brands on the market today. Bell & Bone is available in stores all across Australia and has launched into Asian markets, as well as her products are vet recommended and endorsed. Bell & Bone is an official business partner of RSPCA Victoria, with 10 cents from every bag sold to be donated directly to their organisation to help fight against animal cruelty. In this episode, we discuss some of the frustrating challenges that business owners face when trying to scale their business, along with what you can do to overcome these. We also look at what pet parents are really looking for from pet brands and how to assess what deeply drives their purchasing behaviour and decision-making when it comes to the health and well-being of their dogs. And most importantly, how to instill trust and develop long-term customer loyalty with your brand. So grab a tea or coffee and sit back and enjoy this episode with Arianne. Hi Arianne, it's great to have you here on the Pet Biz Project with us. So thank you so much for making the time to stop by and have a chat with us today. Welcome, and let's get stuck into it. So I wanted to, first of all, can you tell people a little bit about your business, Bell & Bone, and how it came about?
Yeah, my business has evolved and changed over the years, but I'm very happy with the direction and focus of it right now, which is dental care. However, in getting there, I get asked this question a lot, and I hear the answers of a lot of founders of this question a lot. And it's quite funny not funny, it actually makes a lot of sense that a lot of the founders that I respect their businesses and, believe in their messaging, I think we all have a similar reason for doing what we do. So there's not going to be too much of a surprise here that, I love my dog. I mean, I've had dogs my whole life, just forever, and just love animals and could spend all day with animals. And I think we all are. If we're passionate enough to do this for a living, we all are as well. However, we have sort of evolved with our pets, and a lot of us who have these businesses now, we've gone from just a pet being one of the family to owning our own pets. And it's a very different mindset when you own your own pets versus when your dog is just your parents' dog with your family and they make the purchasing decisions. But as I became a dog owner and made the purchasing decisions myself, you sort of become a very different carer, where you start reading, hopefully, what is going into ingredients, and you start reading and researching and learning that this industry is a bit messed up, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Very messed up, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't know how to say that politely, but I feel like I shouldn't say it politely, and I should be shouting it out to anyone who doesn't know that.
Yeah.
But this industry is a bit messed up, and it's really sad because as much as it frustrates all of us, it's actually the dogs who lose out by, big, expensive marketing campaigns that are rather effective, unfortunately. So I got into this for all the right reasons, and that's exactly what keeps me motivated every single day, is that our dogs are suffering at the hands of big corporations, unfortunately, with little conscience and big, heavy pockets full of cash. And I want to make a difference, make a change. And, particularly in my space right now. So as I mentioned, I evolved and I've changed the product ranges that I have. With dental care, it's such an obvious one for me, and it is so important to get right. I mean, if you have got bad makeup of, bacteria in your mouth, it actually impacts your whole health and well-being. 80% of dogs have dental disease.
It's huge,
and
isn't it?
I mean,
massive.
It's the number one health crisis amongst our pets. And this is the thing, right? There's a whole lot of reasons why this is. I mean, it's, genetic makeup of the dog. It's the food they eat. It's the owner compliance to good dental care.
Yeah.
It's like us, right? I mean, you can go to the dentist every 6 months but still have problems.
Yeah.
And if I can control or help guide any part of that to make a difference to, if Bell and Bone could help bring that statistic down from 80 to 79, I mean, what an achievement, right? And for the better of our pets. And I guess I landed here and stay here because of the impact that I know that good, healthy product can make for the overall health and well-being for our dogs. And that's what I do.
Because you actually started off with treats, didn't you? And then discovered that, well, actual dental health was where your real inspiration lied. Is that right? Did I read that correctly?
It became my passion. Yeah. So I did start with treats. I brought out my superfood range 100 years ago, it feels like, when I started thinking about
that in business, isn't it?
Well, at the time it was really innovative. There wasn't, turmeric and coconut and all these superfood, healthy human-grade ingredients in products. This was actually a really new concept when I brought it out. Grain-free on top of it. Our flour was flaxseed and coconut and chia, so no oats and whatever going in there. And it was really innovative. And that was actually off the back of an issue where there were massive product recalls at the time. This brand was sending this dog here and this dog had whatever it was, right? There was all problems, of it.
Yeah.
And people were humanizing what they were feeding their pets. They were actually spending more time and effort cooking and bringing the activity of feeding their dog in to their homes rather than shopping. And I was like, no, this is not good either, because they're missing the nutrients and so much, of the good brands that you can find in stores.
Or feeding things that are actually very harmful for dogs, thinking that they're okay.
You need to just give them what they're looking for now. So that was the inspiration with the superfoods. Yeah. However, this market continues to evolve and there was a lot more competition and, treats became harder and harder to sell.
Yeah.
And they became more of a novelty. And I know that I knew that I need to keep on growing, which I did. And I kept learning about this problem with dental care, and it was not going away. I mean, there were so many brands, as I mentioned, coming in with new treats, and that market was actually getting a lot of good attention with a lot of great product.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like the value that I could bring to the industry was as prominent a couple of years into the business as it was when I first launched.
Yeah.
So I made a decision to actually delete those ranges earlier this year and focus purely on what I'm passionate about and where I believe that I can make the biggest difference as, a passionate, caring dog owner primarily over anything else. And so that's where I landed with the dental range.
Yeah, you started back in, was it 2018? The business initially started?
Yeah.
So it's been, 5 years now that you've been operating? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it for forever before that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I see a lot with small business owners when they're starting out is they think that they've got an idea and that it's just going to, blow up overnight and be amazing and they're going to get this great success. But it's quite often, more often than not, like when we work with lots of businesses, we see that it can take a few years before the business really hits on the gold, hits on what it is that they're really here to do and step into that space. And that's when things take off. But I think there's this huge perception out there that it's all just going to happen overnight as soon as you set up a Shopify store and you get out there and get going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for trialing things. Trialing is absolutely everything. But the biggest thing that I think that business owners probably need to recognize is when something is not working the way you want it to, and be strong enough to change your course. So, I mean, my freeze-dried and my superfood treats were the original Bell and Bone, and I held on to them for as long as I could. But it was a really big call to go, nah, it's not working. And besides it's not working, it's also taking away from my time and energy to focus on my passion and, my value to this industry. And I have to be strong enough to change the course. And I think that with that sort of, mindful thinking about what is going on in your day to day, you are able to grow and evolve and hopefully be the business that you want to have.
Yeah. And I think, it's a conscious decision for you, isn't it, to put it out there about your why, your story, how the business came about, and what you're trying, that vision, that what you're trying to change in the world. You share that a lot. There's a lot of transparency around that, don't you?
Yeah, I am very transparent. I think you're not transparent when you've got things to hide. And I don't. And I just say what I think.
Yeah. But you
And I
show up
hope-
and show people your face. It's not like you're hiding behind blogs or articles and just being this faceless corporation. You put yourself out there hugely.
Well, you know what? If I genuinely want to see the change I want to make, I can't shy away from it. I mean, me as an individual, I'm introverted. I want to be behind my computer and just type away and get away with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work. It actually doesn't work. I tried that in the beginning, and after numerous conversations with my now husband, who was like, Arianne, stop being ridiculous, I decided, well, the camera's where it's at.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the more you do it, the easier it gets, I'll be honest. But I still, every time I'm like, oh, I've got to mentally prepare. However, there are multiple ways of telling your story. You don't need to be in the camera every single day of the week. And I'm not. But on the other hand, I am completely transparent with everything I'm trying to achieve. And, I'll admit when my, products will not, be perfect for your dog in particular. And I think that having that real relationship with an amazing community of responsible, loving pet owners that choose Bell and Bone, I've been able to nurture it and grow it and get some sort of traction, which I'm only, if you can see me this close to where I'm, it's always growing and the target is always moving and the impact I want to make is always getting bigger and bigger. And that's my motivation, to help more and more dogs. And I can't do that by shying away and mimicking a corporation's marketing campaign with a fraction of their marketing budget. It just doesn't make any logical sense.
Well, it just doesn't make logical sense, as particularly when you're starting out as a small business and you're trying to get seen, you're trying to get heard. I think personally the quickest way to do that is to show your face and be the face of your business. I know you might want to, as you're looking at selling off in the far future and you want an exit strategy and all those kinds of things, you might want to start to take a bit of a backseat. But I think the quickest way for small business owners to grow their business is to put themselves out there and be seen and be heard, because it's just how you establish trust immediately in your audience, and you can't do that being a faceless corporation. You don't have the marketing budget for it. So
yeah, and social media makes it easy, but that's not the only place now. I mean, it was for a little bit with COVID, but it's not the only place. I mean, we do events and, I've been always available to my customers to be a part of whatever activations they've got going, if they've got birthdays in stores or they've got new store openings, I do endeavour to get there in some capacity if I can.
Yeah.
We've held our own events, and I think that just getting to know your community makes such a big difference. The other thing also to understand and to be important is to be able to relate to your community, not just talk at them. So I don't, stand there harping on about Bell and Bone's got benefit A and benefit B and benefit C. And, I try to engage. I actually genuinely try to engage with my community and ask them what they want and, be led a lot of the time by their needs and have that personal two-way relationship with them, not just me standing behind my iPhone. It's a two-way relationship that I have. And it's, one aspect is the shopper and, who that person is. But then I've also got amazing relationships with a lot of the store staff, and they advocate for Bell and Bone, and they're my biggest loyalists and supporters. And I could not have established what I have without them backing the brand. But that's not an overnight thing either. I don't just send a flyer and say, go sell. I'm in stores and I'm, training at puppy schools and really being an active member of our community, not just talking shop on an iPhone. And there's a massive difference between the two of them.
Well, you're building a relationship with people. You leveraging online, but you're building personal relationships with people and not with your brand, but with you as a person, which makes a huge difference.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And so obviously with COVID, we just saw this massive boom of, everybody and their dog was starting up a little Shopify store and selling something. And we're seeing a little bit of a downturn with that at the moment, with it becoming harder for people to get results with the cost of living going up. What's your advice to those small business owners that maybe started up and they're, struggling a little bit at the moment to keep the wheels turning? What's your sort of suggestions on what's the best way to stand out in a crowd without huge expense?
I think that before standing out, I think it's about winding everything back a little bit and saying, having those hard conversations, because it's really about finding your direction, number one. Like, what are you passionate about? And this is the most important thing, what problem are you going to solve for your dog owners? So if you cannot clearly articulate that, I'm not going to tell anyone to shut up shop, but I'm going to tell my advice is to have a big, hard think in a hard economic environment. If you cannot articulate what problem you are solving for shoppers, have a think is the way I see it. And, that comes back to deleting my product ranges as well, that I couldn't clearly articulate the problems I was solving.
Yeah.
So I know 100% I am trying to solve a problem of bad oral hygiene in 80% of our dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm so sure about the direction I need to take to be able to solve that problem. And that's what keeps Bell and Bone differentiated and growing in a hard economic time. We are an absolute necessity and a day-to-day essential for dog owners. And even though it's harder, and by all means, it is hard right now, and it's hard for a growing business even, it's what keeps people coming back. So that's number one, really find your problem solution. The other thing is and I've just recently done this, I would make a list of all the things you spend money on. And if you cannot absolutely confidently say they are either a necessity, like a warehouse, let's say, or making you money, get rid of it.
Yeah.
That
there are so many things that creep in over time, aren't they? And then
oh my God, it's just ridiculous. I think I've just literally made 12 phone calls, and it's sad because there are other business owners obviously that I work with, but I've literally made about 10 phone calls going, hard times, you're gone, and it's ruthless and it's hard. But
it's what you have to do as a business owner though, to survive.
Yeah. So before standing out, I would come and, clean your house out basically. From a standout perspective, I think you need to start, everyone needs to get really smart with their marketing. So there's so much out there if, you're following any sort of e-commerce or, whatever it might be, business news, where people are looking at profitability right now. The cost to acquire new customers is out of control. There is little loyalty because people are looking for cheap right now. And if you're not on special, you're not getting chosen by a big percentage of the people who would typically maybe buy your brand. So there's a lot to consider right now. The biggest things, rather than standing out, is nurture your loyal shoppers. They are your advocates, your bread and butter, your word of mouth, your everything. They are the blood that pumps through your business veins. nurture your loyal customers, like treat them like gold, because they are, and you cannot afford to lose them. More than acquiring new, it is so important to focus your energy on who you've got coming back. That's number one. The other thing is think about how you can stand out. If you think that running UGC Facebook ads is your only way of standing out right now, when every goddamn brand is running UGC Facebook ads, you are not going to survive hard economic times. So, I mean, I'm so sure of that. So, as an example, things that I'm doing for marketing to stand out, rather than spending it all on, Google ads, which that was on my cut list as an example, wasn't making me enough money, is I have created trial size dental sticks. So they have gone into
I saw those little sample ones, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah.
So instead of samples, they're trial size. So you still have to purchase them. They're a $2.99 retail price, and it's cheap enough to trial, but it's not too expensive, and I'm not losing money on it where I would with a sample, right? So I call this marketing, even though it's got ranging. I still view it as marketing. There's no big dollars in it for me, and but it brings brand presence, it brings brand trial, and I know that if someone tries the product and likes the product, I have got a much higher chance at conversion than I do by running a scare tactic Facebook ad. So I'm focusing my attention on trial size product at the moment, as an example, and that could be the winning answer for others. So, like, as an example, I've just got a cafe distributor, and our trial size is going into cafes right now, right? So, dog-friendly cafes. So a lot of the people who bring their dog, they want to have something for their dog to have while they're having their coffee, and they're like, oh, this is nice. What's this? And either they'll come back for the full-size bag on the online store or in one of my retailers, and it's a win-win. And for that little stick, which is far cheaper than a Facebook ad,
you've created a whole new opportunity for your business to reach more people. And it's just, rather than just following the trends of others, you're thinking outside the box about, well, how's the way to reach them moving forward? Because I mean,
totally.
If you think about the cost of living going up, everything gets more expensive. People are less likely to spend on bigger items, or they're going to think more carefully before they purchase things. That's going to push the cost of advertising up, because advertising is not going to get the results that it used to from people purchasing. So I think, like you're saying, the businesses that are going to survive economic downturns, and this isn't going to be the last one we see. We've seen them before, we'll see them again. The people that survive those periods are the ones that use that, buzzword at the moment, pivot. But, like, you think outside the box and you think, okay, that's working. I'll go with that, and I'll think of new ways to approach it. Or I'll get rid of things that aren't working and not let them drag me down and continue to pull the business down.
And this is not a hard economic time conversation. This should be an everyday conversation.
Exactly.
You should always cut things that are not working, and you should always think about creatively standing out. If you are going to follow your competitors, you are always going to just follow your competitors.
Yeah, exactly. You're never going to be, that's like we're saying, you're never going to be the one that stands out in a crowd. You're just going to be sitting there with the pack. And so you've got a partnership with RSPCA, haven't you? I mean, that is huge. That's been a long time partnership as well. It's not something that just started up overnight, is it, and then went away. You've been with them for a long time.
2020 we signed our first contract. So it's 3 years now. And I'm grateful for them, honestly, for choosing Bell and Bone to partner with. They are a household name in our industry, and so I'm very proud of my partnership with RSPCA Victoria. I mean, giving back to the community in some form, just from a personal level, has always been something that I have done. I've volunteered in ambulance services and underprivileged schools and soup kitchens and all sorts of things. But I don't have time, honestly, to engage in those things now. I mean, I work what feels like 24/7 plus, have a family and hopefully friends and other, hobbies and things that I need to engage with. I'm very lucky that I have Bell and Bone as a vehicle to continue the charity work that I am so passionate about.
Yeah.
And I use Bell and Bone to be able to do so. So we donate 10 cents per pack straight to RSPCA Victoria to help fight against animal cruelty. And I donate, bog product to their shelters for the dogs to have while they're in their care. And it's a really important part of our values. I mean, Bell and Bone is a reflection of me, right? It's, there wasn't a drawing board with a big agency that came in and said, you're going to stand for A, B, and C, D.
Yeah.
It's Bell and Bone is what Arianne believes to be good. And that's about as complex as that goes. And giving back is just a part of my DNA. And, if I'm aligning my values, it's not just giving back. It's that I want every dog to have access to better dental care. And that should not be, taken off those dogs who are not fortunate enough to be given to amazing families. It should be the dogs at RSPCA. It should be every dog. And if I truly believe that, I shouldn't just stop somewhere. Like, the limits shouldn't exist. And that's why my partnership with RSPCA is so important to me.
And it's something that I love about business these days is, you don't have to wait until, you've had some great success in the future and you've got all this money and you want to give back or something like that. There's no reason why you can't build micro giving back into your business model and just feel like that's part of what you do every day. It doesn't have to be some way off goal in the future. So did you find it easy to develop that relationship with RSPCA, or was it, did it take time?
I mean, it's grown over time.
Yeah.
So our partnership has become stronger. We now have their logo on the front of our packs. So, that comes with time and goodwill and
building trust and that
history, trust. Yeah. Exactly right. So it has developed and it continues to develop, and we continue to support each other in all sorts of different ways. I'm very thankful for them to support Bell and Bone the way they do.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's lovely to see. And I think that such a great relationship. And like you were saying, there's no reason why I shouldn't be helping the dogs that are less fortunate, as well as the ones that have got the pet parents that are maybe buying all the latest things and stuff for them. It's lovely that you're doing that as well. And so obviously we were talking about challenges with the business, and you're never going to go through business and not have challenges. I think, you learn that pretty early on, that as soon as you overcome one challenge, there's just another one on the horizon. That, being a business owner is all about finding solutions to problems. And, that's the way that we should approach it. Is there any particular challenges that stand out for you that you've experienced with growing Bell and Bone that you could share with others that might help them as well?
I mean, look, my number one challenge all day, every day, and this would be probably typical to any fast-growing business without investment, is cash. Right?
Yeah, cash flow.
You're holding stock. The bigger you get, the more stock you have to hold. I've got all my money literally sitting in my warehouse. It's terribly hard. But how do I navigate it? I am very diligent on the stock that I hold. So I used to have the attitude of, buy an extra, 20,000 units because then my margin will be better and blah, 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 blah. But if you can't afford to pay for your stock just to have a better margin, potentially it's not worth it. So I have become very conscious of what I'm spending, and that has been, more so than ever probably in the last year. So I try and make sure that I'm never holding more than a couple months worth of stock at any time, even if I have to pay a little bit more to do that. I'm saving on, storage costs, and I'm saving on other sort of costs, and I've got cash in the bank. So everything comes at an expense, but you just need to work out what's important. cash is always going to be a hard one, particularly, as an example, you just get surprise price increases from all sorts of different people. You just literally get an email saying effective in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's happening everything. It's not just one thing, is it? It's right across the board.
It's crazy, but it's about finding efficiencies in your business. So, potentially, if you're going direct to a whole bunch of little stores, potentially it's about finding a distributor who can take that on and grow your business. And then you're paying for one set of shipping, and you're not doing accounts receivable for all those little customers, as an example. So just like something like that might be just a really great way to cost cut. And then you get, the expertise and the efficiencies of having a distributor as well. It's negotiating better situations with your customers potentially. Like if you are selling a lot, maybe there's breaks that you can get from them, and same with your manufacturers as well. So it's just about continuously nutting out where you can cost cut that's not going to impact your sales, hopefully, and be smart about it so that you've got cash in the bank. And I think as a volume growing business, that's probably all of our challenges, particularly right now.
Definitely. And talking about rising costs, you recently put your prices up for your products, didn't you? And I saw that communication that you sent out via email, and I loved the approach that you took with just being very honest and transparent with all your customers about why that was occurring and what you'd done to try and do everything you could to avoid it happening. But, it's just a factor of what's happening in life at the moment, that we're seeing increased costs everywhere. Was that like a long, drawn out process to make that decision to send that to your audience and to put your prices up?
Yeah, I held on longer than I could afford to be honest. I put the prices up $1 per unit, and every time you put a price increase, there's a risk, and it was really scary, and I really didn't want to do it, and I didn't want to upset anybody, and it was really hard for me. And although it's only $1, it's potentially $1 every single week for people who do give their dogs a dental stick every day, and it makes a difference. And I recognize that as somebody who, it's tight on money. So I get it. And it was really hard for me. But at the end, I had to make the decision to do it because I have a responsibility to my dog owners to stay in business. So I realized that if I didn't put my prices up to match what has happened to me, I would risk the future success of Bell and Bone, and I wouldn't be able to help the dogs that need a product like what I create. And that would be more of a disservice to our industry than the extra dollar per bag. And that was, at the end of the day, the decision I had to make. And I know it's the right one, and the support that I have and had from my community, I'm so grateful for their loyalty and understanding. And hopefully it's, just a little glitch that we sort of all move on from.
Well, I think it comes back to trust again, that while I know it's painfully hard to go through that decision and then to go through communicating and feeling that fear of what's going to happen off the back of the price increase, but it just shows that you're not willing to compromise on the quality of your products either, where some of the big corporations out there would maybe not put their prices up, but they'd start compromising on the quality of ingredients in the product, or they'd start using more fillers in their products and things like that. Whereas I think it shows with you that you're not willing to compromise on that, and that's what you stand for. So people would get it, it's tough for everybody seeing things get more expensive.
Yeah, my name's on the back.
Yeah.
My name's on the back. Seriously. My name's all I've got, right? And I'm never prepared to risk who I am and my values and what I believe to be good. So as long as, I'm here, this business won't compromise. I will never compromise on quality.
Yeah. And I can see that through everything that you do, your marketing, your communication, and the relationship building that you do with your audience. And I think that's what makes you stand out in a crowd. Because to be honest, there are lots of dental sticks popping up all over the place these days, aren't there? But you can straight away see the differences. Like anybody that's educated or is familiar with Bell and Bone, you can straight away identify those differences in the brands, and that's what will, give you that longevity, I think. So at the Pet Biz Project, we are all about building meaningful relationships with pet parents. That's what we stand for, and, making sure that those relationships, there's trust and nurturing and loyalty there. Can you tell us what sort of building meaningful relationships means to you and to Bell and Bone?
Yeah, it's any relationship, right? I think just because there's a transaction involved, it doesn't make it any different to any of my other relationships. I treat my community as I would want to be treated. It's a two-way stream. We all own and love our pets. We're all trying to do the best job we can in every aspect of our lives. We all work. We all, do things that we like to do. It's just, I think that I'm lucky and I'm grateful for the luck that I have to be a part of a community that is so engaged and is so willing to share and be a part of this journey with me, not, really together with me. And it's not work and it's not an effort. It's natural. I have real relationships with a lot of people that are pet parents. And as I mentioned, it goes, to the people you see on Instagram, to the people who are in the stores. They're all pet parents too. And they are so much a valuable part of my day to day. They're the people, in the head offices that I work with. We're all in this industry because we care so much. And the chain is so high. I mean, my manufacturers, they all have pets as well. And it doesn't stop. I mean, from everyone I talk to, we've all got dogs and we all believe the same thing. So we're very lucky and very grateful. I think anyone in this industry who is doing something different and special and standing out and making that change that we all want to see, I think that's the beginning part of a meaningful relationship, by focusing in on what you believe and what you want to get out of this.
From the sort of the practical side of things, have there been specific assets or ways that you've gone about communicating that education and building that relationship? Is there anything that you've found that specifically has worked well for you? Like, is it influencers? Is it, social media, Facebook groups? What have you found that's worked for you?
I think the messaging more than anything. I try really hard to empower people to make the best decisions for their pets. I mean, they're the owners and it's their decision. But I never tell people how to shop. I never tell people to buy Bell and Bone because that's what suits me. I point out, what goes into what makes Bell and Bone who it is versus some other competitors, and encourage them to make the best decision that they want to make for their dog. And it's always different. Our motivations are always different, whether it be finances or availability or, values on what health is. I mean, that's everyone's choice. So I don't think it's like social media or email or blogs or events, or I think it's all of that coming together.
It's that whole ecosystem of communication and education and connection that helps.
Correct. Yeah. But it's the empowerment that I give to our shoppers, because if they feel that they have made a good decision in buying Bell and Bone rather than a forced decision in buying Bell and Bone, they will come back.
yeah, I like what you said there. It's like an empowered decision rather than a guilt-based decision that, you should be feeding your dog this because it's better. It's more about educating them as to how it's going to benefit their dog and how they're going to have a better life for those ingredients and that quality. And then the decision to purchase is their own.
Yeah, exactly right.
Fantastic. So what's up for next for Bell and Bone and for yourself? I know you're flat out busy at the moment. So have you guys got anything exciting coming up?
I'll give you some clues. So as you know, dental is the absolute, my core, my focus. I mean, I want to tackle this from every angle as I can. We've just launched our puppy range, which I'm like so overwhelmed with the response so far. It's just, I mean, it's anyway, we won't go into detail, but it's really blown me away with how well it's performing and, just the acceptance from the market. There was nothing like this targeting the needs of puppy. And so, and that prevention piece as well. So it's really sparked some insight for me. And I'm a little bit obsessed right now with life stages.
Okay, I can read. I won't ruin it for everybody, but I can see where you're going with it. So the puppy went so well, you've just decided that you're going to tackle those other life stages as well, have you?
Perhaps. Just stay tuned.
Okay. Sounds good. It sounds really exciting. So I'd love to see that. I have a 13-year-old Labrador and she absolutely loves your dental sticks. They're fantastic. I think she was doing a bit of a happy dance this morning when I told her I was interviewing you for the podcast. She's gorgeous. So Arianne, if anybody would like to get in touch with you or reach out to you for collaboration or partnerships or whatever it might be, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
The easiest is to go to bellandbone.com.au. There's no E in Bell, just by the way. Lots of people think there is, but bellandbone.com.au, we've got a contact us page. Everything comes through me. Or my email is Arianne, ARIANNE, @bellandbone.com.au.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for your time today. I'm so grateful for you coming on, as I know you're such a busy lady, but you've been just lovely with sharing information with everybody, so we really do appreciate it. And we'll put everything in the show notes so that everyone's got access to those links that you've mentioned and any other information that was covered throughout the episode. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Arianne. Thanks for joining us once again, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Pet Biz Project. Arianne definitely has so much experience in the pet industry and is making a huge impact on improving the welfare of dogs through her partnership with RSPCA. As you would have heard in this episode, something Arianne also feels passionately about and emphasises the importance of is being the face of your brand, telling your story and showing up to be seen and heard by your customers. This is the key to building trust and long-term relationships with your community. The other key point I'd like to emphasize from this chat is that as business owners, life is full of challenges, which we have to overcome to take our business to the next level. These challenges will never go away. So trying to understand this and become excited rather than overwhelmed when new challenges arise, and seeing these challenges as a sign that you are growing and you're actually ready to move forward in a bigger way. This can often help reduce feelings of stress and anxiety in your work. If you'd like to connect with Arianne or ask her any questions, you can reach out to her via the links in the show notes below. And I hope you have a great day, and remember to subscribe to the Pet Biz Project so you'll be notified whenever a new episode is published.